What's going on, my babies? Welcome back to another episode of the Spiritual Word. Thanks for tuning in and tapping in. If you're new, hit that follow, hit that sub, whatever platform you're on. This podcast is on every platform. I upload Mondays and Fridays at 8 p.m. Mountain Time. And if this is something you're interested in, then I'd recommend following or subbing. And as always, before I start these, I like to start these off with a disclaimer by stating that these are for entertainment purposes only, and to always do your own research, to come to your own conclusions, to make your own decisions, to be your own person, and I believe in your ability to do so. And I also like to start these off with a disclaimer by stating that I apologize for any noises in the background in advance and anything of that nature. So in today's episode, I want to talk about what it means to manifest and a formula that I use that consistently works for me. So everybody has their own way of manifesting, whether that's scripting, whether that's feeling it, whether that's meditating, whatever the case is for you. And obviously, you're going to use your own individuality to figure that out. But these are some tips that I've noticed that work in my life that might be able to help you in your life. So, a few things that I start off by doing is noticing and noting that my higher self or my subconscious mind already knows what I want and what I don't want. And if I am kind of in tune with that, or if you're in tune with your subconscious, then you already know what you want. For example, people who experience a lot of loneliness, they know that that's not something that they enjoy. And you know what you want and you know what you don't want, based off your likes and your dislikes. But if you're somebody who's experiencing loneliness and you don't know the type of partner that you want, then that's something that your subconscious mind isn't very clear on. And that's where you get into relationships where you figure out, okay, this person, I really like this person, I really like these qualities, but maybe not so much these qualities. And it's where you go into your dating phase and you kind of figure out what you like and what you don't like. And over time, your likes and your dislikes develop. And that's part of being a person. So you're already knowing what you want and what you don't want in life from a general standpoint. Whether you experience a lot of discomfort in your reality, then you know what those discomforts are. Versus if you experience a lot of comforts in your reality, then you know what those comforts are. And something that has helped me in the manifesting realm is knowing what I want versus what I don't want on a really, 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 what's the word? From a point where, like, you can see everything. Or from a very deep down point. From a point of microscopic level. You know what you want so specifically, and you know what you don't want very specifically. So, for example, if you are in the dating scene and you know that you don't like people who are manipulative and controlling, that's something very specific. So you're able to spot that because you're in tune with that. Or if you're somebody who doesn't really go out, or somebody who hasn't really experienced a lot of relationships, maybe that's something that you've never experienced, but you know that you don't like it. And you already know this due to the external sources that have been presenting itself. Like if you talk with friends and they're like, oh, this person doesn't let me go out, this person doesn't let me do this, blah, 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 you know? So, the first thing that really, really helps me get to a point where I'm able to manifest is first knowing, like, specific details of what I want versus what I don't want. Now, this doesn't mean that you're never ever going to experience what you don't want or what you do want, but it gets you on a playing level where you're able to spot these things more easily. Like, for example, if you're somebody who experiences a lot of loneliness and you're like, okay, I want a partner, but I don't want somebody just to want somebody. I don't want a relationship just to not be lonely, because that opens a lot of possibilities to me meeting people who are not right for me, or meeting people who are very manipulative, or, opening the doors to people who I might not enjoy being with. So, knowing those specific things has a lot to do with how well you know yourself as an individual and what you know that you can take versus what you won't. And if you can take something, it doesn't mean that you have to take something. So, get really specific with yourself and know what you want and what you don't want at a really deep level. And another thing that helps me with my manifestations is to just simply feel grateful for the moment that I'm experiencing, because I know that whatever I'm experiencing, it just has to show up. Like, it's the momentum that I've created that is presenting itself. Everything that comes out of our experience first starts within us. If we are experiencing extreme loneliness and we've gotten into relationships for the sake of getting into relationships, then that's the momentum that you've created because it wasn't specific enough. Versus if you were trying to manifest your dream career or whatever the case is, right? So take note of all of those things. And once you take note of those things, it helps you kind of guide yourself. And another thing that helps me manifest is knowing that I'm always at the right place at the right time. No matter what I'm doing, no matter how I'm experiencing that very moment, I know that whatever is being presented to me is right place, right time, right circumstances, right situation. Everything is happening because it needs to happen, because it's kind of like releasing itself through my experience. Another thing that helps me in my toolbox of manifestation is if you're somebody who likes to script, or if that's something that helps you feel like you're getting all the things that you've ever wanted, then I'd recommend doing that. For me personally, what I've experienced is actually doing those things that I set myself out to do. Like, for example, if I'm trying to manifest, I don't know, my dream career, then I'll go out and apply for those jobs. Or I'll meet with people who already have those jobs that I want. Or, like, for example, I went after a job that I didn't have any credentials for, ended up getting it, and just spoke to the people who were there. And instead of making small talk with these individuals who were already at a place where I was trying to be at, I asked them, okay, how did this start for you? What was the starting point that got you to the snowball effect? What was the snowball that started this snowman? Because you're already where I want to be. How did it start? How did you know that you wanted to be this person? Like, if you go back and watch the interviews that I've done with a few people, you'll notice that I'll stay, or I'll ask questions like, okay, how did you know that you wanted to be this? What was like the starting point where you were like, oh, okay, this is something that I can do, this is something that I'm interested in, and this is something that I am going to tackle head on. How did you know that you wanted to get there? And another thing that helps me manifest is just being in a place of like feeling okay without those things, because it's not the end of the world. I can wish for a perfect world, but it's not the end of the world if there's one bad person out there. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that ripples on to, you know, affecting me, but it's also ultimately not the end of the world. Like, everybody's affected by things daily, whether that's your own mental health, whether that's people externally being rude, whether you go out and you're watching something negative happen, whether you're watching the news, something is always happening that's always negative, and you can't really let that bother you because it's not your end of the world. You know what I mean? Like, and even if it is your end of the world, be okay with that, accept where the things are. It doesn't mean that they're right. It doesn't mean that you have to agree with them. It doesn't mean that you have to love them and support them. But you can sit there and be like, okay, what can I do that will help contribute to my specific cause? Like, for example, there's a boycott going on right now where people are not buying specific brands because they support war and stuff. And instead of me focusing on the wars that are going on, I'm like, okay, what could I do to contribute to the side that I'm on? And the side that I'm on is to not support this war. Even though if this war is happening, it's happening for a specific reason. That is the manifestation of either a whole country or a whole collective of individuals who believe that war is okay. And so it's just playing out in this experience is just playing out. So what could I do that helps the momentum of the people who support not having war? Well, I can go out and not support these specific brands, or just not buy these specific brands, or, find ways to support people who need the support in the ways that I can support them. Like, if I meet somebody who is a refugee, what could I do to make their life a little bit easier? Stuff like that. And just like you're consistently doing, try to make good feelings happen. And another huge, huge tip that I would give is to feel amazing, feel at peace, feel like whatever you want is already coming towards you. So what could you do to bring that in for you? Like, for example, if you want to be, I don't know, somebody who's written in movies, you want to be an actor or an actress, or, somebody who plays a role in movies, you can already go out and try to book really small roles. Although they're small, it could lead you to bigger things. Or you can make your own videos. You can record and, star in your own little movies. And these own little movies are movies nonetheless. So you're already living out that experience that you want to bring into your life. And another huge thing that helps me in my manifesting is to know that these things are always a possibility. You can always get these things. They're always open to you, as long as you are open to them. If you're open to the possibility of being, I don't know, something that you want to manifest, like, I don't know, a dream car or something, then that idea will be open to you. And that's how you magnetize these possibilities to you. If you want your dream car, your dream career, you can't sit there and not believe that it'll happen for you, because then you'll never go out and you'll never feel confident enough to take the action of going out to apply for these jobs or go out to look for these cars. Or you'll never be open to the possibility that this car could be yours. It could be. Doesn't mean that it's necessarily yours right now, and you don't have to lie to yourself in the sense that it's your car right now. But you can speak specific truths into your experience. Like, for example, this is another tip too. This is a really huge tip that I've experienced that kind of removes a lot of my personal blockages, and it's to talk about things in a way that's real, or like to feel the things even if they're not here, because it's real. Like, for example, all of the things that I experienced in my external reality had to come from someone's mind. Somebody had to invent a jacket for me to be wearing a jacket. Somebody had to invent a microphone for me to be wearing a microphone. Somebody had to invent a camera for me to be recording this, video. Somebody had to invent a microphone for me to be recording this through audio. Somebody had to invent the software. So all the things that you want are real, and they are something that you can make reality. So live that as though it's already true, because it is true. You're having the starting point created from you. And your feelings are that starting point. Like, whatever brings you happiness is most likely what you want out of life. So because it brings you happiness, or because it's something that you want, it's something that the world is presenting you with. It's saying, hey, this is a possibility that you specifically could have. Now, we want to help you get it. But you have to show us that you're willing to support this idea. You have to show that you're willing to support the universe in its endeavor to experience every single possibility possible. And that possibility list, or that list of possibilities, is endless. So if you want something, it's because the world is saying, hey, I want to experience this through your body, through your specific mind, through your specific taste, because you're the person that I designed to want this. If you want that specific career, the world presented it to you because it's meant for you. And feel that to be true in the center, in the core of your being. That's something that I've experienced that's moved mountains for me. Mountains. And that's one of the biggest tips that I could ever give anybody. That thing that you want it because it's meant. It is made. It is handmade in a basket for you. The reason you want it so much is because it's for you. It is made for you. You want it because it is you. You are trying to give yourself another experience that you know you would enjoy. So why would you be the exception to not get what you want? Why would you be the exception for you to just, like, I've experienced this one specific thing where people are like, I'm gonna die alone. And I'm like, why are you the exception? Why do you think you're so special that you're never gonna find anybody in the world that's ever gonna find you attractive? Why do you think you're so special to think that the world is just gonna crumble on you, specifically, and only you? When it's happening to all of us. And I think it's very interesting because it puts, like, a damper to people who actually believe in themselves. Like, I've experienced that when I was in school and I always thought really highly of myself, there was always, like, a bully that was ready to crush my dreams. I'm like, okay, like, who are you to speak and to say that I'm not special, but here you are acting as though you think you're special? So, the hypocritical system that is the world shouldn't play a part in who you think you are. And another thing that I've experienced is that, like, if I ever told people that I feel special, that I feel like I'm a beacon of light, if I told people that I feel like I'm an earth angel that's sent here to tell people that you should go after these things because they're meant for you, because that's how the world works, then I'm gonna, live in my truth because I feel it at my core. And if someone, like, I've experienced a lot of the time where I tell people that I do feel those things, and they always have a tendency to, like, step on those. They're like, why do you think you're special? And I'm like, I'm not special. You'll see a billion different people doing the exact same thing that I'm doing. I'm just one of the people that happens to take initiative. Or I'm just one of this whole collective of people who feel this way to take action on this specific thing. I'm only one person to talk about this. But it doesn't mean that I'm the only person that feels that way. So for me to think that that's some sort of, like, I'm special, the only reason that people have a tendency to, like, hate or do whatever is because they feel like they could be doing what you're doing, but they're not. And a little part of them is resentful because they're not doing it. And another thing that I want to take note of is that the world is never bullying you, or, like, even if a bully presents itself, that bully is not bullying you. And even if the world is like, I want you to experience being your own business owner, and then you go and you start a business and it fails, it's not because the world isn't supporting you. It's because you need to experience what it's like to fail so that you can succeed. It's kind of like when people are like, oh, the world is giving me life lessons so that I get stronger as an individual. It doesn't mean that the world is out to get you because you're that special. Even though everybody is special and everybody is unique and everybody plays a part in this special reality, it doesn't mean that that's it. And I don't know why I felt the need to talk about that. I'm just gonna move on from that. So, one of the last things that's helped me in my experience that I've been trying to convey is that everything is truth. So, when you're feeling something that you want to manifest, that should be your truth. Experience that as truth. Because if someone told the person who created the internet that that's fucking false, that how are you gonna do that? If somebody was trying to bully the crap out of this person and they just gave up, we wouldn't have the internet. So if, you feel like that's not true for you, that you can't experience whatever you want, why not? Why is that not true for you? Is it not true because of your beliefs? Is it not true because you feel like it's not? Is it not true because you've never been presented with something in your life that resembles that? And if that's the case, go through those beliefs, go through those feelings, and experience why they're there. Because they're most likely there to teach you something. And my last and final tip for the way that I manifest, and the way that's helped me the most is feeling that it's true. If I want something to manifest and I feel like I'm playing a role or like this is false, then it doesn't manifest for me until I sit there and I'm like, it is real, it is possible. I need to stop pretending that I'm so special that it's not going to happen for me. When in reality, it is real. And so let me feel like it is real. What would I feel if it was real? I'd feel really fun. I'd feel free. I'd feel happier. I'd feel more at peace. Okay? So then feel those things. Feel at peace. Feel happy. And those feelings will make it more true for you. And the more true it is, the more opportunities will present itself for you to act on it. And the more opportunities present itself, and the more you take action on those opportunities, the more and more and more and more will come. Until you get to the milestone of like, hey, I actually already have my manifestation, and I didn't even realize until later on. Like, for example, I sat in my room for a long time thinking about, well, I really want a place where I can record my podcasts and record them from a camera. So what did I do? I didn't do anything. I just felt like, you know what, this is a possibility, so I'm just going to let life hand it to me. It's true already, so I'm just going to continue to record these podcasts audio only until the opportunity presents itself for me to get a camera, or maybe somebody tells me an idea that they have, because I don't want to buy a really nice $1,000 camera and not know how to make my videos or not know how to edit. And I remember I was going to work at this pizza shop, and I ran into somebody who makes music, and they're like, hey, do you know anybody who can record a music video for me? And I'm like, record? Like, do you already have cameras, or like, what do you use to record? And he told me that he uses an iPhone X because it has 4K quality video recording, or like the ability to record in 4K. And I was like, oh wow. And he was telling me all these like life hacks that he's found throughout the years of doing his thing. And it gave me a bunch of that was an opportunity that presented itself. I was able to learn and expand myself in order to learn tips and tricks from another individual who was already living out their dreams. Maybe not to the full extent, because their dream is to get paid from the music that they produce, but they ultimately just have fun with their music, and their music is good. And the videos that they make for their music, I know is going to be even better because they have all these amazing creative ideas. And so through me experiencing this amazing human being through all of their potential and all that they could be, and them living out all that they could be doing, it gave me an idea. And I was like, oh, okay, maybe I should just get a phone that records in 4K. Does my phone record in 4K? And so I ended up getting another phone, but I still use my old phone. But I use my old phone to record the audio version, and I use my new phone to record the video version. And I'm not gonna lie, that sounds really complicated, to record on two separate things. But it works out for me because I get to record an audio version of this and a video version of this. And it's what I wanted to do. And so I was able to manifest that possibility. I was able to get that outcome through being open to the possibilities. And another example of something that I manifested that I didn't even realize that I manifested until it was late into me experiencing this, was the place that I record this in. I wanted a place that felt more private than just sitting in my room, because the walls are paper thin and you can hear everything that's going on, and I wanted a place where you don't hear as much as you do here. And I wanted a place where I can just go and be in my own sanctuary and meditate if I feel like meditating. And then I manifested where I sit. And before I knew it, I was like, whoa. I was looking back at all these circumstances and all these things that's happened to me in my personal life, and realizing that all the synchronicities that I've experienced have come from me being in alignment with what I want to do, regardless of the outcome. Like, this podcast doesn't make me, you know, it doesn't make me any different, if that makes sense. Like, when this was just an idea, I was like, how am I going to do that? I don't have a personality to be able to like shine on camera. I don't have the personality to like make people interested in what I'm saying, or I don't have, this and this and this. Like, I was very insecure, to say the least. And then I just started doing it. And I was like, there's nothing that's like really hard about this. I just act like you're just another friend. And I'm just telling you information that I've accumulated that you want to know about. And before you know it, I got my first view and I was like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't have to promote. I didn't have to, do all these things that I was super duper scared of. And I didn't have to put myself out there like I was super duper scared of doing. And when I started recording these as a video version, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is so nerve wracking. I don't know what I'm supposed to look like. I don't know, what's gonna, you know, be the best way that I record, what's gonna be the best background, blah blah blah. Like, I didn't have any of that figured out. I bought a banner off of Amazon that had my podcast name, and I was just like, okay, that would be the background. Like, that's good enough. And then I started posting on YouTube, and I remember a lot of my content wasn't getting like any views at all. And then it went from no views to like 10 views. And I'm like, oh my gosh, like, that might not be like a huge jump, like, that might not be something that most people are like really excited for. But for me, that is exciting because I'm in alignment and it's showing up in my reality that regardless of 0 people watching this versus 10 people listening to this, I'm doing what I want to be doing. And that's perfectly okay with me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not focused on the outcome, because there is no outcome. I'm going to be doing this regardless of me having 1 billion people listen to this or 1 billion people watch this. I'm still the same individual I was when this was an idea, and it will continue to play out that way, or it'll continue to change. Who knows? And you have to kind of acknowledge that for yourself, because your ideas are just ideas until you put them out there. And then when you put them out there, it doesn't change the fact that they were an idea. And it doesn't change who you are as an individual unless you let it change you. Or unless you were trying to be cool, or you're trying to do this, you're trying to do something that wasn't necessarily your norm at the time. But there's nothing that you can't do in life, and there's no reason for you to believe that you can't do it. Even if you're the most boring person in the room, even if you're the most uneducated person in the room, even if you feel like you're the worst human being to ever exist, like, all that really doesn't matter. And I think that those are where our blockages come from. And our blockages come from us not knowing how it's going to play out. We think that, well, if I post this video on YouTube because I want to be a YouTuber, I'm going to fail. And then you post and it gets no views. Whoop-de-doo, you failed. You called it. But if you post and it gets 1 view, that's no longer a failure. It's only a failure if you're really persistent on a specific outcome. But if you're really persistent on the specific outcome, most likely you're just trying to manifest something for the sake of manifesting, for the sake that you think that it's going to fix something in your life. You think that having $1 billion means that you'll never have to stress about money, even though you still have to pay taxes. Or even though people will still try to take advantage of you if you have all that money. You know what I mean? Like, there's always going to be some sort of give and take with whatever you do. There's always a price to the magic that is this world. And it's hard to accept, but once you accept it, you do things for the sake of doing them, for the sake of enjoying your experience. And you're in alignment after doing that. And when you're in alignment, nothing can stop you, because not even you can stop you at that point. Your interests have a hold on you. You know what I mean? Like, if you left a party, that probably has you in a chokehold. You know what I mean? Like, everything that you could do is always there for you. And your manifestations or your dream reality is not a dream. It's something that you can make real. And it's not something that takes like a shit ton of hours in the office for. It's not something that you have to burn yourself out for. It's something that you just do for the sake of doing, and it yields results because you're true to yourself. You're true to who you want to be. You're true to the outcome that you want to see. And everything is real as long as you let it. And, something that my friends quoted me on when I was hanging out with a bunch of spiritual people was create the world you want to live in. You want these manifestations not because they're external to you, but because you can create them. You want to live the world that you're creating. So live it. Create the world that you want to live in, and then live it. And it's not as complicated as you need or as you make it out to be in your mind. Most people, when they have dreams or like they want to manifest their dream career or whatever the case is, they have this overweighing thought, this overweighing belief, this overweighing feeling that this is not for me. This is not for me. This is not for me. Why would I want to live in this world if I haven't created it? Just go out, create it. That's why I think it's really funny that Nike's slogan, or like their little, I think it's called slogan. Their like phrase that everybody knows them for is just do it. Just do it. Because you don't get any results from just sitting down and thinking about it. Just go out and do it. And do it even if it's not the most mature way or the most beautiful, perfect way that you imagine it. Like, you have to start somewhere. I feel like that's what scares people the most. That you're not starting at the end. But that's the whole beauty of being a person. I get to be a baby before I'm an adult. Most people are like, I want to be an adult because I want the freedom. And, for me personally, I was like, I'm not looking forward to being an adult because I look at all these adults and they look stressed as hell. And all I have to do is sit here and play. I don't have to do shit. I might have to go to school, but at least I see my friends there, So, live or create the world that you want to live in. And then go out and do it. Even if it's not the most professional. You gotta start somewhere. Anyways, this already went over the time limit, so I'll end this here. Thanks for tuning in and tapping in. It's been The Spiritual Word. I'm your host. I'm not gonna say my name because I've already said my name. But, I mean, not in this episode, but like, you guys know my name. If you're reoccurring or if you're subbed, or if you know me in real life, then you know my name. But I'm not gonna say my name in, like, I'm your host. That feels weird to me. So I'm just not gonna do it. But anyway, if these are something that you're interested in, spirituality is something that you're interested in, manifesting is something you're interested in, spiritual growth is something that you're interested in, psychology, or numerology, or anything of that nature, then I'd recommend following or subbing. This podcast is on every platform, and all you have to do is look for The Spiritual Word. I also have a TikTok that's named after my old name of this podcast, so it's Can of Heaven, which I know is kind of complicated, but I can't change the at, so doing what I can. Maybe I'll make a new one sometime later in the future just so it makes it easier for you guys, but for now, it's Can of Heaven if you look me up on TikTok. And I also have a personal TikTok where I upload kind of just like videos that I think will be helpful. They're pretty similar to the podcast that I make. So if that's something you're interested in, the at to that is UG_Dauntless. The AUNTLESS. Dauntless. Like from the movie Divergent. Because I'm a fucking nerd. Anyways, thanks for tuning in and tapping in. And I'll see you in the next one. Peace.